Just present. Okay, so here are the typical options that we've seen people do in AERIES Gradebook in the last few years. So you can either categorize by type of assignment. So you can see here tests, quizzes, and assignments. Now that we're in Canvas, you're gonna have to be even more specific. So if you have a math gradebook, it would be tests, math, quizzes, math. For your ELA gradebook, it will be tests, ELA, quizzes, ELA, so that Canvas knows which one to send it to. Because if you just call it tests, Canvas is not going to know which gradebook you want. So keep that in mind, okay? Or versus the category standards. I know a lot of us use the actual report card clusters or the standards there to do our categories, which is also a great thing too. So let me show you the difference of what that looks like. So if you do it by type of assignment, I'm sorry, my sound, that's going to bother me too. Okay, the types of assignment right here, as most of us have done. The good thing about that is you could put multiple standards in an assignment. You can actually do that on the other one too, but it would make more sense here. And this is how the report looks. So when you download it from AERIES, here's what your report looks like. You can actually see the categories on the left. You see the actual types of assignments. And then right here, you can see the grade for all the different categories, which it is helpful. But as a parent, I'm thinking, okay, they're not doing so good at tests. I don't really know how to help them there. So let me continue. So here versus this. So this is actual categories by report card standard. Okay, so we're not telling you which one to go, but right now I'm seeing this one working a little bit better, but it's up to you. Again, so your categories will match the actual standard. You're going to attach one standard onto that. Here's what your report looks like. You actually have the standard or the categories to the left, and then you have your assignments. And this is really what changed my mind, because at first I was doing it the first way. And this really convinced me, because now when you look at your categories, you can see them by standard. So as a parent, I know, okay, we're struggling a little bit with reading informational and language. I know what to work on. And so we talked to some teachers last year and they said, you know what, the reason why I switched over was when it was time to have conferences with parents and they were wondering about grades on the report card, I could simply print out this report and it aligned very well. So it helped with that conversation. So again, we're not going to tell you which one to do, but just so you know what your options are. Okay, I'm going to hit stop sharing that. Okay, before we actually take time to talk to one another, I just wanted to share this resource with you, which is really important. Okay, so since we're talking about the report cards, there's a, sorry, there's a folder that I want to share with you. So let me go ahead and share this folder with you. I'm going to put it in the chat. Please hold. Thank you everyone for your patience. It's going to be a little bit slower today. Here we go. Okay, so here's a folder that has all the different report cards. You don't have to look at it now. It's just there for you. And if you don't look at it now, it is, again, it's on our HLP USD links. So don't worry, it is there, okay? But I'm still gonna keep sharing screen with you so that you understand what this actually is. So this one says RPT, Report to Parents Gray Out. I called it that because you're literally, it's grayed out. So the first one, it says all grades. So you can look at all the grades at once. Or next to it, you could see the different grades. You go straight to your grade level. So gray out means that it is grayed out depending on what you're being graded on per trimester. That makes sense, right? Okay, so let me go to the other folder. The other folder, Report to Parents and Standards, this is for your alignment. Again, the first one has all the grades, and the following ones, you can just click on your specific grade. And this has your actual report card with the standards that you need so that it pushes over correctly when it's time to submit your, when it's time to put your grades for your report card. Okay, so these are the exact grades. And so I'm gonna go, let me show you, I'm gonna go to second grade. Oh no, we're not second, we're third through fifth right now. Okay, here we go. So you see third through fifth, you just have your reading literature, informational text, etc. And these are the exact standards you would put, so that's where it shows up. So you don't have to drill down to RI 0.3 B, whatever. You can, but there's no reason to. You could just put these simple ones and it will go straight into that box, okay? All right, so we talked about report cards, we talked about categories. Now we're gonna give you some time. All right, let me take you back. All right, everyone. So right now we're going to take about 5 to 7 minutes with your own grade levels and give you a chance to really talk, because some of you have already tried these different things in the last few years. So maybe you could say, you know what, this one worked for me because this and that. This one didn't work for me because of that. And we can just do a little bit of brainstorming. And when we come back together, hopefully you have a better idea of which direction you want to go for this year. So if you're not 100% decided by today, it's okay. You could always delete what you create with us today, but it would be best if you know which direction you're going so that you can actually use what we make together. So Christina, I know you're preparing the breakout rooms right now.
I just, I messaged you, but I'm not the host, so I need to.
Oh, I'm sorry. She was trying not to interrupt me.
Yeah.
Christina, I'm going to make you the host.
So while Teresa's doing that, if you haven't yet renamed yourself to put your grade level in front of your name, if you could do that now. I don't know if Teresa, maybe you want to go over that really quickly again, because I'm going to then create the different rooms to put you in.
So go ahead and make those rooms for us. Thank you so much. All right, so everyone, if you have not yet changed your naming convention, go ahead and go down to participants, click on participants, and then on the right, find your name, hover over your name, and then click on rename, and please change your name to your grade level. So your grade level and then your name after that, so that Christina knows where to put you. If you don't do that, that's fine. You'll just be left behind, and then she'll put you wherever you want to go. All right. So I'm just gonna give her a moment I apologize, Christina, that was my fault.
That's okay. I'm almost done putting everybody in rooms, so once they can probably head out there.
So your TOSAs are also going to be in those rooms with you, so that we're there to help support you. But again, this conversation will be led by you. So we'll just be listening and there for support, and I'll try to pop into all of them to see how everyone's doing. So it's 2:15, probably about 5 minutes, and then give them a 2-minute warning, I think. Whenever you're ready, Christina. All right, for the sake of time, everyone, hopefully you found that useful to be able to talk to your colleagues a bit about which way to go, and hopefully you have an idea of what you would like to do, at least today during our training. And so let's go ahead and put the document in our chat again, just in case we had some people who are just joining us. So any other questions, please put here in our document, and we are going to make sure everybody is muted. All right, thanks everyone. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna start an AERIES gradebook. So if you're not there yet, go ahead and log on to your AERIES gradebook right now. I'm gonna give you a moment while I get my screen prepared. And we are going to take you through the actual steps of copying or creating from scratch your gradebook so that you have everything ready, okay? I'm going to share screen with you, so I apologize if those of you who are only using one screen, you're gonna have to toggle between my screen and your screen. Okay, I hope everybody was able to log on to their AERIES gradebook at this point. Here we are in our dashboard. The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to show you how to copy your gradebook from last year. And some of you might want to do that because you don't want to have to redo your settings for your grades and everything like that. So I'm going to go ahead and take you through that step. And if you're one of those who doesn't want to copy, that's fine. Just sit still and kind of just wait for your turn. So we're just going to spend a few moments here on copying gradebook. So we're going to go to copy gradebook. And then I would look for my own name. Actually, let's start with the year. So I'm going to go to last year. And then I'm gonna look for my gradebook, or if I have a colleague and I know I like what they did, I'll choose theirs, but I'll choose my own. And then just for the sake of today, I'm only gonna choose one. Okay, you could do all at once if you're sure, but I'm just going to choose one for now. And here's the important part. Down here at the bottom, where it says final marks, etc., we used to tell you to check them all. But since Canvas is going to be making your assignments for you, we actually suggest not checking the last box, because if you check the last box, you're going to bring all your assignments from last year and you probably don't even need them because they're just going to be shells that you don't need. So we suggest taking everything final marks. You don't want that to change. Options are fine. Categories are fine. And then assignments, not to bring them over. If you want to, it's fine. because you could still manually do your assignments in AERIES, that's no problem. But if you're going to be doing them in Canvas, Canvas is going to make the shells for you so you don't need it. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit save. And if you don't remember what categories you did last year, don't worry, you can always adjust it. So here we are. Gradebook looks a tiny bit different from last year, if you didn't notice. The title is now down here at the bottom. So don't forget to associate your class. We're in grades 3 through 5, so you don't have other periods. You only have one to choose from. Don't forget to choose it. And then down at the bottom, your title is down here instead of at the top. I like to remove the word copy because I don't really need to know that it's a copy. And then once you're ready, you would hit save. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and save this. Don't forget to hit save, all right? I'm gonna give you a moment. And I'm just gonna take a glance at my categories because I'm wondering what I did last year. Here you go, these are general from last year. And I am gonna go through and I'm going to rename these, but we're gonna go there in a moment, okay? Okay, so we're gonna pause. So for those of you who want to make a gradebook from scratch, this is your turn. It's your turn now. For the rest of you, you can go ahead and just peruse through here. You could add your students now if you want to while you wait. But for the rest of us who want to start from scratch, here we go. Okay, so we're back on our AERIES gradebook dashboard. You're going to go to add gradebook. So we're going to add it. We still suggest checking all trimesters, okay? Because some teachers checked it one trimester and then second trimester came around, they're like, how come, what happened to my gradebook? Is because they didn't check it, okay? Some teachers choose year, and for your grade level 3 through 5, we don't suggest that because that means your grades will be affected by the grades from the beginning of the year. So if they took a test right now and you gave them a score, it might bring down or it might, you know, increase their grade at the end of the year. It will affect the grades throughout the whole entire year, and we want them to be clean every trimester. So that is your call, but we suggest going 1, 2, 3, okay? Don't forget to associate your class at the bottom, and then let's give it a name. So I'm just gonna say sample because this is not my real grade, this is not my real grade book. So for the sake of the person who I am borrowing their account. So go ahead and put a title down at the bottom. And again, don't forget to hit save. All right. So now those of you who copied your gradebook and those of you who started from scratch, we are now in the same spot. So everybody, this next part is for you. This is for all of you, okay? So we're gonna go into our categories now. Those of you who are starting from scratch, now you have to decide, well, both of you actually, you all have to decide what you want your categories to be. If you are starting from scratch, you would click add new category and then you would put the name. Some of you might be like, well, you know, I don't remember what the actual names are. So in the chat, actually, you know what? We already showed it to you, didn't we? Yes, we showed this to you already. So you could take a look at this and then you can name them just like that. So I'm gonna do that right now. The rest of you go ahead and name your categories while I'm doing it at the same time. And if you want to keep them general, that's also fine. So I'm just going to go ahead and start setting that up. I think I did mention before, if you're doing general categories, you need to specify what gradebook it is. So you can't just say assignments and have it in ELA and have it in math because Canvas won't know where to put it. So it has to be assignments, ELA, assignments, math. It's up to you how you want to name it, but remember it because in Canvas you have to name it the exact same thing for it to work. So I'm going to give you a moment. We're making our categories right now. So just add new category. I'm going to stop talking so that you can focus. When you are done, please do not forget to hit save. So many times I've done it and forgotten to hit save, and I'm like, where did it go? And it was my fault. So don't forget to hit save. If you are done early right now, while we're waiting for everyone else, you can go through if you want to put, if you want to color code it, it's fine. I tend to like Roy G. Biv. I like the rainbow colors. You could do monochromatic blues and pinks and reds, whatever. You could recolor them if you want, or just leave them. It's entirely up to you. So I'm going to go, while I'm waiting for some of you, I'm going to go to her other one. And I'm going to edit this. So you edit it by just clicking on top of it. There we go, for those of you who want general. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and move on. If you didn't finish, I apologize. You can always change your categories. The only thing that cannot happen, if you put an assignment in a category, you can no longer delete it. So you could see right now, I could still delete my categories, but as soon as you put an assignment in it, you cannot delete that category anymore. Okay, you could still rename it, but you can't delete it. You might wonder, where did my delete button go next to reading informational text? It's because there's already an assignment inside. Okay, so just letting you know that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and move on to the next part. Assignment should be empty unless you brought some over. Manage students, we're not going to spend time here today, but I'm just going to remind you, don't forget to bring your students in. Okay, if you're a straight class, you would just add students and you would add all. If you were a combo, then you would choose the kids for that grade level. We're not having that conversation yet. I know some of you are going to ask. We'll talk about that later on. Okay, so don't forget to do that. All right, but right now I'm going to go ahead and go over to the next part that we all need to make sure we do. So final marks. If you copied your gradebook from last year, then you don't have to worry about it. But if you didn't, you started from scratch, we need to make your final marks. Okay, and your final marks should reflect this document right here. I know a lot of you have seen this before. These are the recommended final marks for the district. If yours are a little different, that is fine. These are just recommended. Okay, but what we do ask you is that if you decide to do something different from what's on this document, that you do it with your grade level at your site. Because if you have parents who have a student in your class and in another class, they're going to wonder why, for example, if they have the exact same score, but in her class it's a C and in his class it's a B. Okay, so try to be consistent at least across grade level. Some sites actually are consistent across site. So that's entirely up to you and your site, but that's just our advice because we have received some concerns with parents who said it's not consistent, at least across grade level, okay? So just keep that in mind, all right? So we have A, B, C, D, F. Here are our ranges. Let me put this in the chat in case you wanna look at it. In chat. Hold on, I need to send it to everybody. There we go. There you go. So here it is in our chat. And again, don't worry if you lose this today, it's in HLP USD links. It's in there. Okay, so it will never be gone. All right, so now it's here. So I'm going to put this aside so that I can actually use this information in my AERIES. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. So if you're starting from scratch, you just want the top one to be 0, and then I hit tab 0, and I just do that over and over. So until I get to the zeros. So the rest of it is 0.00. That is the same thing. We're not going to do anything else. Now I'm going to look for the grades that I want. I wanted A, 90 to 100. Hopefully you're taking time to do this as well if you need to. B, sorry, I'll stop talking. C. D. F. F is all the way down here. Once you finish, you can scroll up or down and click Save Changes, and it will populate the ones that you've changed at the very top. And you can see now this should reflect the document that I just showed you. So we have A, B, C, D, and F right there. So make sure that that is set properly, okay? Let me go on. All right. So now we're going to jump over into Canvas now and show you how to set it up there. So now your AERIES gradebook is set up and ready to receive assignments and scores from Canvas. So now I'm going to go ahead and move into my Canvas. So I'm going to give you a moment to get to your Canvas so that you could follow along, or you can go ahead and go through the steps with us. Let's go ahead and go over to our Canvas right now. And Miss Padilla, if you're here, thank you for letting me use your account. Can I get a thumbs up of those of you who are ready to continue? Nice, okay, that's about half of us. Okay. Like Dr. C mentioned, we are recording this session, so in case you need to go back, you can watch it. And you can also watch from yesterday if you want, but I would assume you would want to watch today. Okay, so now that we are in our Canvas, you're actually in your course, the course that you are teaching. We go all the way down to the bottom to Settings, okay? So we're going to click on Settings. I'm trying to look at your faces to see if you're ready. Okay, and in Settings, we're going to scroll down and we're going to look for Enable Course Grading Scheme. I'm going to give you a moment to look for it. Some of us, I can tell you're there, and some of us, I'm not sure. So I'll make sure everyone's on the same page. If it's not checked, you simply have to check it. If it is checked, then just wait for the next step. Okay. Perfect. All right, so now we're actually going to change the grading scheme. Just like we did our final marks in AERIES gradebook, we're gonna change it here as well. Even if you don't change it, it will still push over correctly. But if your parents are viewing your grades in Canvas and they're viewing them in AERIES, you really want them to match, because you're gonna get a lot of questions of like, how come, you know, it doesn't make sense. I have A- here, but in AERIES, there's no such thing as an A-. So we're gonna go ahead and go down here and click on View Grading Scheme. All right, you have a few choices here. We could actually make a new one, or we could just edit the one that we're in. I'm just, for the sake of time, I'm just gonna edit the one I'm in. I'm gonna look for that little pencil at the top. So I'm just gonna click on that pencil and watch what happens. All right. Just gonna give everyone a moment to get there. Okay, so now I'm gonna pull up my document again because I didn't memorize it to look at the different, here we are. Oh, here we go. Okay. So if you notice, it's a little bit different from AERIES. The range, it goes from large to small. So it's going from your higher range to your lower range. And for me, it was hard for me to understand. So in this document, I'll bring it over because you probably don't know what I'm talking about. This document right here, at the very bottom, you can look here, and I just flip-flop them for you so that you could see it from high to low in comparison to AERIES, where it was from low to high. Okay, so if it helps you, because it did help me, you can scroll down a little bit, and this is the one that we're going to use, 100 to 90, etc. Okay, so get that out of the way. So here we go. I don't need these other grades. I don't need these in between grades. So I'm going to go ahead and X those out. There's an X next to it. So everything except for A, B, C, D, and F, I'm going to X it out. X it out. Okay, until you're just left with A, B, C, D, and F. And then now I'm going to go ahead and fix my range. And you can see I only really have to move what's on the right. So the first one was 100 to 90. So I put 90, 70. Oh no, that's the wrong grade. Sorry. 90, 75, 65, 50. And there we go. Okay. Gonna give you a moment. I see some of us typing away. Go ahead and hit save. And then you can see now this will reflect the same thing in AERIES. So whatever scores you give here, if you push it over to AERIES, at least your final grades will look the same. Okay. Done. Give me a thumbs up if you're still with me right now. Okay. All right, so the next step is to actually go and create those groups that we were talking about. Remember how we said that categories have to match the groups to a T, exact spelling. So we're gonna do that by going to assignments. So go ahead and click on assignments. And at the very top of assignments, you can see right here, it says group. So this is what needs to match. Your group has to match your category, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and click on group. I'm going to give it a name. So whatever my category was, and I think mine was reading literature. And make sure you spell it right, and your spaces, everything has to be the same. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to do the rest. I'll give you a chance to do that right now. I see some of us still working. Excellent. Those of us who are done, if you're wondering where your groups went, they went all the way to the bottom. And I'll show you in a moment how to bring your assignments over once everyone's done. Okay, here we go. All right, so if you didn't finish, don't worry, you can go back and still add those groups later. But at this point, I'm just gonna show you, if you don't know where your groups went, you scroll all the way down and here are your new groups. So you have some choices. You can go to your actual assignment and you could drag them into the groups if you want, or you could change them from the grades, okay? So you could literally take them and grab them and drag them down if you want to. Just make sure you choose the correct ones and you put them in the right group, okay? All right, so before we move on to the grades, there are some settings within the assignment that you need to choose in order for your push to work. Okay, so you can either, at this point, you could either go to an assignment and edit it, or you could start a brand new one. It's up to you. There are just some features I want you to see. So I'm just going to click on an assignment. I'm just gonna click edit, just to show you the settings, okay? So obviously, if it's worth points, you're gonna want it to have points, okay? Here's where you choose your group now. So if you want to do it from here, you can edit your assignments and now you could choose the group that you want it to go to. Okay, so make sure you put it in the right group. I'm not going to do it yet because I'm not sure what this teacher wants to do, but you can choose whichever one you think it should go to. Okay. Down here where it says sync to SIS, you must click this button. If it is not clicked, it will not get pushed over. So if you have some assignments that you want them to complete, you know, for the sake of tracking or something, but you don't care if it pushes over to AERIES, you can leave that unchecked. So when you do the push, nothing will happen to these assignments. But if you want it to push over, you must check this box. I'll repeat that about a few more times. Make sure you check this box. Okay. Next part. down here where it says assign to, you need to make sure it's assigned to your section, okay? You are 3rd through 5th, so you only have one section, you have one period. If you made an assignment that's just for 2 or 3 students, it will not push over, okay? So if you want, you can add those manually if you want, but if it's meant for a small group or just a few kids, those assignments don't push over. The assignments that are for the entire section do push over, okay? Next thing that is necessary, it must have a due date. If there is no due date, it will also not push over. Okay, so make sure that you do have a due date. And we're not going to talk about it right now about how long you should have it open until, but I think most teachers put their due date and then their until date is the same. If it's not, it's fine. That's a whole different conversation, but make sure you have a due date. Okay, and then once you're done, hit save. And I'm not going to hit save because this is not really mine. You would hit save and then it would be ready to go. So those are the assignments. Those are the assignment settings you must have in order for the push to work. Okay, we're almost done, everyone. Okay, so the next part we're going to go to is, just make sure I'm not missing anything, is the actual grades. So let's go ahead and go to our grades here on not AERIES, here on Canvas. So here's how the actual push works. So let me wait for you to get there. So you can see these beautiful scores sitting here in Canvas and you want them to go to AERIES and you don't want to do it manually. Here's what you have to do. So you could from here, if you want to edit, you can go to the actual assignments here and you can edit them and change the categories or change the groups if you want. Okay. Well, we're not going to do any of that right now. We're going to go up here to actions. Tecto says, if I missed something, please let me know. I feel like I might have missed a step there. Okay, so you're going to go to actions. Sync to grade pass back service. This is it, everyone. If you're going to write something down today, this will be the one. Sync to grade pass back service. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that so you can see what it does. And then here you could see which assignments that I actually want to push over. Okay, because these are the only assignments that had checked that I want to sync them over. So if you want, you could just choose a few assignments at a time. You could do your whole thing. It's up to you. And when you're ready, you would click down here where it says post grades and then it'll push it over. That's it. Was that easy? So when it goes into Gradebook, it creates the actual assignment for you fully. Okay.
I was gonna say, I think you at least need 1 grade per assignment for it to push through. So if you had like 5 assignments, but then you only graded 1 and you push it through, you're only gonna see the 1 in your grade book. Was that said? Sorry.
No, you're good, Robert. Perfect. So as you, like he mentioned, if you haven't given any grades yet, it won't push over. There's nothing there. So make sure that you have your grades in before you push it over. Okay. Let me see if I miss anything. Okay. So I know you're probably wondering, okay, so now what? How about pushing to the report cards? Okay, so I'm going to take you back into AERIES and just show it to you. So you don't have to go there. I'm just going to show it to you real fast. So again, just to repeat, you click sync to grade, whatever, something, something. You check the ones you wanted and you clicked on post grades. That's it. Now it'll show up on AERIES. Let me go ahead and take you back to AERIES just so you can see. Let me see if I can find it. Here we are. So this is another teacher's, and I believe she is here. So thank you so much again for letting us use your account. Okay. So now she has already pushed them over from Canvas, and here's what it looks like. So before assignments was empty, but look at it now. Now it has all the assignments that were in Canvas, and now they are in AERIES. Isn't that beautiful? Makes you want to cry. It's all in there. And not only are the assignments there, the actual scores are there. So if you click on scores, these are scores from Canvas that were brought over. Okay. But I know we're missing one step, right? So let me go back to those assignments. So now your Canvas and your AERIES are synced. Beautiful. But how about when you want it to actually push over to the report card? Here's what you need to do. Okay, but just to make it clear, everyone, you do not need to put standards on every single assignment. You only need to put standards on assignments that you want to affect your report card. So if you have about 200 assignments, but only 50 of them, you really want those to change the score on the report card, you just put it on those, okay? So unless you have infinite amount of time, don't waste your time putting standards on everything, just on assignments that you want to affect the report card. Okay, and here's how you do it. So Canvas made these assignments. I'm gonna go into edit. So this looks familiar, right? We've been doing this many years. And then down here at the bottom, you're going to click add standard, and then you just choose the standard. That's it, okay? If that doesn't work, this is an aside, if this doesn't work, you might have to, see where it says description, it has this weird code. You might have to delete that. Okay, we've had a few teachers that say, it's not letting me do it. So for some reason, when they delete everything in this description, it will allow them to do it. Okay, so just so you know, go ahead and try it. And if it doesn't work, then go into the description and delete the code that's in there. Okay, because that code doesn't mean anything to you in AERIES, all right? And that is it. And then when it's time for report cards, then it will know exactly which box to go to.